Is the altcoin season canceled? This is the question I'm getting a lot right now from people in chat, people in comments. And in this video, I'm going to go through all of the details that you need to know about altcoin season. Starting off with, what is it? What is the altcoin season? Did it ever start? And why I believe personally that altcoin season is still here, it's still happening, and what I would have to see to change my mind on those issues. But if you enjoy this video and this topic, make sure to smash the like, hit subscribe. But first, we got to roll the intro. Before we get into what altcoin season is, the biggest thing we have to kind of focus on is why people are even asking this question. Well, if you haven't been paying attention, recently, Bitcoin has been continuing to just go to crazy high levels. But over the last couple of hours, especially the last 24 hours, there was a big pullback in price action where Bitcoin fell, but altcoins fell back a whole lot more. And it's making a lot of people question and wonder, are there altcoins now dead? Is the bull market over? Is altcoin season over? Should they just invest in Bitcoin alone and not hold any altcoins whatsoever? That is what we're going to be tackling here today. So stick with us throughout the whole thing. Let's start off with just talking about what is altcoin season, because there's a lot of people who I think have misconceived ideas about what it is. And you might find someone who disagrees with my opinion, but this is my channel. I get to give my opinion. This is what I perceive as altcoin season. Let's read through it here. Altcoin season, or alt season as people refer to it, refers to a period in the cryptocurrency market where altcoins, any cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin, outperforms Bitcoin in terms of price growth. During this phase, altcoins see substantial gains in their market value relative to Bitcoin. All right, so ultimately, that's what we're looking for right here, is we're looking for a time period. It doesn't have to be every second, every day, but an extended time period where altcoins outpace the gains of Bitcoin. I'm going to explain why I think that started, why altcoin season is here in a couple of minutes. But we got to start off with just that simple detail. But let's get into the key characteristics, the details that you're looking for to be specific to decide, do we actually have an altcoin season here? Market dynamics. Bitcoin dominance, the percentage of the total crypto market cap attributed to Bitcoin, otherwise known as the chart on TradingView called BTC.D, it typically decreases dramatically. All right. Altcoins experience significant price surges, often outpacing Bitcoin's growth rate, right? So those are market dynamics. Number two, the increased trading volume. There's a shift in capital from Bitcoin into altcoins, leading to higher trading volumes in altcoin markets. And then number three, diverse gains across altcoins categories. Large cap altcoins, such as Ethereum or Binance Coin, often lead the rally. Mid and small altcoins may see explosive speculative growth. Let's go through these one by one, these characteristics, and answer the question, do we actually even have the beginning of an alt season? You understand what it is at this point, but has it actually come to be? Starting off with number one, the Bitcoin dominance. Did it decrease dramatically? Let's go take a look at that chart and kind of see what is going on, even from a historical standpoint, what this means. If you go back and you look at the last two altcoin seasons, because there's really only been two of them, you'd have to scroll all the way back to February or March of 2017 when Bitcoin dominance was hovering up in the 90s. But then you would see here late February of 2017, this chart would fall off the map. It would fall dramatically over the next year and some change, all the way down to 35% by January of 2018. So I guess a little less than a year of a movement here, but a big, big fall on Bitcoin dominance. Well, the second altcoin season came in place back here in January of 2021. Once again, the Bitcoin dominance chart was back at higher levels. It had some ranging, and a lot of COVID things kind of messed up the details of how it stayed high or not. But ultimately, it peaked out up here at 73%. And there early in January, you would watch the Bitcoin dominance to once again plummet. Well, what are we looking at right now? Why do we think that this potentially is a plummet? Like, did we see a plummet, a dramatic plummet in Bitcoin dominance? Well, we've been tracking over the last couple of years as we've been rising here since early 2023, a rising trend level, a support level that always was a pullback
for Bitcoin dominance that kept us in a bullish movement, setting higher highs and higher lows the entire time. This trend line should be the defining factor on if we're actually still going to the upside or if we go to the downside. Well, as you can see, after topping out at 61% back earlier in November of this year, we had a dramatic pullback all the way back to 54%. And while today, in the last couple of weeks, we've rallied back up higher, and I'll comment on this later, we still have seen a major rally with a dramatic pullback losing a major level of support. We also saw it happen with a massive increase in volume. What this volume increase communicates is, let me move this here for a second so you can see it more clearly, is even though volume was interesting throughout this Bitcoin dominance rally, it picked up steam at the very end of the rally as the buying became selling. And this is very important because this increased volume right here is where the changing of the guard came in. This peak in volume can easily be seen as a good reason to flip the script and say this chart should be moving to the downside. So with that being said, answering that first part, does Bitcoin dominance fall dramatically? It did. It has. And I'll show you some more things here in a little bit to kind of back that up even further, but we'll go with that one. We'll say yes, Bitcoin dominance has fallen dramatically. Number two, altcoins experience significant price surges, often outpacing Bitcoin's growth rate. Go take a look at altcoins over the last couple of months. They have been exploding. This isn't a hard factor. It's just something that has happened. And so from a market dynamic standpoint, we absolutely have the beginning of altcoin season. Let's go to number two, increased trading volume. There's a shift of capital from Bitcoin into altcoins, leading to a higher trading volume in altcoin market. Now, while it's harder to answer this one because Bitcoin has still been rallying as well, and traditionally during this part of the bull market, this part of the switching from Bitcoin season to altcoin season, Bitcoin has a dramatic pullback. I still would say there are people who have been shifting, people like myself who have been shifting some profits from Bitcoin into their altcoins as well, seeing a lot more potential over there. And if you look at any portfolio right now, while Bitcoin is still doing very, very well, that Bitcoin dominance chart falling to the downside does communicate, well, even though Bitcoin's been rallying here more recently, altcoins are just rallying at a faster pace overall. So that one's going to be a little bit of a stretch. Some people are going to argue with it, but I'm going to say that I have seen a trade-off in volume flowing into altcoins rather than into Bitcoin. But as we keep going on, we look at number three, the diverse gains across altcoin categories. The second part, mid and small cap coins have been exploding now for a while. That one to me is insignificant. The bigger detail is the large cap coins. And this is going to be a deciding factor because there's going to be people out there that say you have to wait for Ethereum to rally before you have an alt season. If you look at the Ethereum chart, while it has been respectable, doing well, it has not hit a new all-time high. It hasn't had the same explosive growth that you've seen possibly on coins like Solana over the last couple of years or other coins like Ondo. If I come down here, Ondo's had explosive growth here more recently. XRP, of course, has explosive growth. So there's going to be some people that say Ethereum has not really started its massive rally just yet, and therefore alt season can't have started. But I want to challenge this part of the argument here, large cap altcoins, and it uses Ethereum and Binance. I want to make the argument that Solana and so if we go to Solana and we go to XRP, these are two very large cap coins that have had this explosive growth. And I just want to challenge, is it potentially possible that this is a cycle where Ethereum wasn't the leading indicator, that it actually was Solana and XRP starting off this rally, which again is stealing the Bitcoin dominance away from it and is causing us to start into a downtrend. Yes, we have a higher high right here or a lower high in the moment, but that is not anything to worry about at the moment. This is still a trajectory that looks like it wants to move to the downside. That is what I'm watching for right now. And that's why I'm going to say, not only are we not over yet, not only did we just start the altcoin season not that long ago, we also are not done with it yet. But let's continue that because there's going to be some of you guys who are saying, Tim, it's not time for altcoin season. I've seen a lot of people saying we're not going to see altcoin season until January or maybe even later. Let me show you what the timeline looks like for alt season to start. You got to remember some dates, so stick with me on this. But let's talk about, we're going to use the daily chart here. Let's talk about the dates and the time that we're watching for
for true alt season to start. If you remember the date in 2021, it was January of 2021. So you're looking at this peak on Bitcoin's price right in here, January 2021. How long after the halving event did this event take place? Let's take a look here real quickly. This green line is the halving event of 2020. It was roughly about 243 days. This also, after the bottom of the bear market, came roughly 750 days after the bear market bottom. So remember those details: 240 after halving, 750 after the bear market bottom. Well, let's go back to the previous bull market right before there. Actually, I already had these details up here, but let's talk about it anyway. If you go back to 2017, remember it was March area, early March, late February of 2017 when altcoin season started. Well, let's zoom on in here. Halving event happened in July of 2016. How many days after that did that March date come into the equation? Roughly 231. So a little bit shorter, but a similar range. Well, what about the bear market bottom? Even though we had a double bottom in August 2015, the real bear market bottom started in January of 2015. How many days before that happening? 780. So you can see a pattern here. Higher 700s, mid 200 level days after these events causes our altcoin season. That's the time period within a 4-year cycle we often see the altcoin season. Well, coincidentally, let's take a look at where we are sitting right now in this predicament of predicting where we should be. Again, we should be somewhere between 750 to 770 days after the bear market bottom. The bear market bottom was back here on November 9th. Moving forward to right now, we are 772 days past the bear market bottom. That is check number one. But what about the halving event? We should be somewhere in the world of 240 days past this mark. Well, if I move this over, we are right now 245 days, 246 days, or 4 days, excuse me. I know it says that I have a day early here. 244 days past the halving event. So you can see even historically, if you're a big fan of the 4-year cycle still being intact at the moment, this is the time period where we see big pullbacks. And what those pullbacks look like, historically, Bitcoin had a 30% pullback in January of 2021. It had a 30% pullback here in March of 2017. I believe the markets are more mature. I don't think we have to pull back 30%, but I still believe, and I've been saying this on our channel for a while, that 15 to 20% is the target we're keeping an eye on. And right now, if you look at the zone here between roughly 92,000 and down towards 86,000, if we go to the 2 daily chart here, we have a sell signal on the Lux-Algo oscillator with bearish divergence, where we have red reversals, we have the bearish divergence, 2 different bearish momentums, and at the moment, negative flowing money flow. This all gives us an indicator that says we should at least fall back right here into the smart trail. Guess where that smart trail is coming in at when I zoom in? Right there between 15 and 20% pullback, as we predicted. So I'm still anticipating the history to continue. We're right on the right schedule. This pullback on Bitcoin looks like it's matching and should be hitting our targets we have predicted. All of this communicates to me that not only did we start altcoin season is right on schedule as it is going. Now, I want to make sure people are aware here, this is a different bull market. Bitcoin, of course, does have an ETF and massive institutional adoption. I'm not predicting a massive crash on Bitcoin dominance like we've seen in the past. In fact, I think this time, instead of dropping all the way to 40 or 35%, Bitcoin dominance more than likely will only make its way down towards 50 or maybe 45%. Why? Because this is the institutional bull market where the massive money is coming from, you guessed it, institutions. And they really, really like Bitcoin. But that doesn't disregard that alts from the retail space still are preparing to take off. And as you look at some of these, we'll show you in other videos. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and watch our content. We have explosive growth coming for the altcoin market as a whole. It is not something to worry about just yet. But I want to wrap up this video. I've kind of given you some evidence, some thoughts as to why altcoin season has started. It's still happening. It is not canceled. But what would I need to see to start being concerned that altcoin season might actually be over and we're in a completely different cycle? Well, I go back to the Bitcoin dominance chart and I take a look at the daily chart, where right now we are wrestling with a bearish level of a smart trail. This is a part of our Lux-Algo package that you can buy in the description down below. The #1 trading indicator on the markets. We're wrestling with this smart trail at the moment, and that category is right here, about 58.4%. This is kind of the line in the sand right now. This is the area that kind of is going to separate. Is this simply a dead cat bounce on Bitcoin dominance where we're setting a lower high, or are we about to skyrocket back to the upside? What I would want to see to change my mind and say that this altcoin season is canceled or never began would be if we rally up and open and close a daily candle above this smart trail and turn it into a level of support rather than resistance. I know we're very close, and a lot of people are going to say, Tim, we're looking like we're rallying right now. Is this the evidence that altcoin season's not here? It's not, because this is simply, like I said, just a resistance level that a lot of times when you do have a big pullback, when you do start moving to the downside, it's not abnormal to rally back up, set a lower high, and then continue your way to the downside. So the next couple of days, next couple of weeks are very, very important. But let's just make sure we're clear here. Just because that happens, let's pretend that we do go away from altcoin season. Let's pretend Bitcoin dominance shoots back up over 60%. That to me does not mean altcoins are done rallying. That just would be a testament of how explosive Bitcoin is. Altcoins as a whole, they might be hitting some local tops, but when you look at the long-term charts and you look at how much money is flowing into them and how much interest is pouring into them, the altcoins have a long, long way to the upside. My personal belief, though, that explosion starts sooner than Bitcoin. The Bitcoin dominance chart plummets. Altcoin season comes as normal, but let me know in the comments, in the chat, if you disagree, why you disagree, what your arguments are for disagreeing. I love to hear your guys' takes. On the way out, smash the like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios. Hey there, if you enjoyed this video, don't just smash the like and hit subscribe, but watch another one as well, like this one right here. And if you want to learn more about trading and investing and get more confident along the way, learning with an amazing community, you might want to click this link right there. So go ahead, click them.